Hello, everybody, and happy holidays. 'Tis the season to drink sparkling wine. Doesn't matter if it's Monday, Tuesday mornings, or Saturday evening. This is my favorite season to drink champagne specifically. So, yes, all sparkling wine has bubbles in it, right? But champagne is just a world of its own. So they created and cultivated and curated the most amazing sparkling wines the world has ever seen. And we are all just imitators in the game of sparkling wine when it comes to champagne. So I want to talk about 3 champagnes that I am featuring this holiday season. All by the same producer, actually. It's Philippe Gonnet. They are in the Les Mesnil-sur-Oger region of Champagne, France. And I've got 2 wines by them and a second label that they are producing as well. So this is their Terre Blanc, or their Terre Noir, sorry. That's black label, not a white label. Their Terre Noir, it is equal parts Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier, the 3 primary grapes of Champagne. There's a few others, but they're rarely seen in very small portions. So those are the 3 major ones. Equal blends of all of these, aged extensively on the lees, which is the yeast in the bottle, giving it this like rich, luscious, brioche, biscuity kind of texture to the wine. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous wine. A little bit of nuttiness to balance out the fruitiness. Soft bubbles, but super, super tiny bubble structure. Probably one of my favorite styles of champagne of all times. So next we have a vintage champagne. So most champagne is actually blends of multiple different vintages put together. They only make a single vintage champagne a few times a decade. Each champagne house decides on the year that like, oh my gosh, these grapes are perfect. The season was perfect. Everything was perfect. So we want to make a wine to express that level of perfection. So they'll make a 100% vintage champagne. So this is the 2011 vintage champagne by Philippe Gonnet. It is 100% Chardonnay, so Blanc de Blanc, so white wine from white grapes. And of the 3 I mentioned, Chardonnay is the white grape. So Blanc de Blanc always means, or virtually always means 100% Chardonnay. So really excited to be tasting this one. This was aged actually 7 years on the lees, so really extensive maturation on the lees gives it this like richer, creamier style. Also has oak aging on it too. So instead of that reductive style, it's got this like oxidative nuttiness to it that is just truly, truly divine. So this wine could age easily for another 2 decades, no problem whatsoever. Their third wine, which I'm going to be featuring, is this Pierre Cellier. This is the label. Same producer, Philippe Gonnet, but they made a second label to basically pour by the glass at all of the Parisian restaurants that was able to be poured by the glass because these 2 wines are a little on the expensive side to pour by the glass in these restaurants. So this is their Prestige Brut Rosé, which I'm going to be opening and tasting for you all here on camera. So all of these do have individual pricing, and because 2020 has not seen the typical sales of champagne that other years have seen, these champagne houses are discounting their wine. So I'm going to be able to pass along those discounts to you. So stay tuned for those specific details of the pricing, but you can get all 3 of these wines for just $200 delivered straight to your home in time for either Christmas or New Year's or whatever holiday you want to celebrate. New Year's Day is actually my favorite time to drink champagne because the holidays are over. You can finally like relax a little bit, and wine just tastes so amazing on New Year's Day. So I'm going to teach you real quick just how champagne should be opened safely so that no one has any accidents this holiday season. This is very explosive, right? So they put a cage on it for a reason. So there is this pull tab, which you can see right there along the wire cage of any sparkling wine like this. If it's not quite as bubbly, sometimes a frizzante style sparkling wine, not champagne, but other styles, will just have a beer cap on it because it doesn't have that much carbonation in the bottle. But anything with the cork and the cage on it is explosive. So as soon as you pull this down and start untwisting it, you want to be very careful. You don't want to cause any injuries or broken lights or anything like that. So I always like to have a napkin, and I put it on top, or a towel or anything like that. It doesn't have to be a fancy black linen napkin. Could be anything. I put it on top of the cork, and then I'm going to hold that napkin with my hands so that say the cork does explode out, it's going to be caught by the napkin and it won't actually go anywhere dangerous. Then I'm gonna have that pull tab right here on the opening of the napkin. I do want the bottle at about 45-degree angle. That's going to prevent more explosion versus if it's straight up and down. So this degree is going to keep that level of explosion a little bit more contained. But basically all this carbon dioxide is dissolved into the liquid of the wine. And as soon as you open it up, the science of equilibrium, everything wants to come to equilibrium. So the higher pressure in here wants to match the pressure on the outside. And so all of those carbon dioxide molecules are going to literally explode to normalize the pressure. So that is what the bubbles are created by. So 6 turns will loosen the cap exactly. So I'm going to loosen that up. And then I want to grip the cork. And actually at that 45-degree angle, I want to twist the bottom of the bottle rather than the cork itself so the cork doesn't break. I am starting to feel the cork wanting to come out now. You want to keep that pressure on the cork. So you don't want to hear a loud pop. The louder the pop you hear, the more that carbon dioxide is being released into the air, and you're going to lose some of that bubble structure. So if you can hear it, then that's too loud. It should just sound like a little whisper, basically. So if you like to keep those corks, save them for special occasions and write the date on it, the end of 2020, then keep those corks. I think they're really beautiful, especially the way that the more you age a cork, the more you have it outside of the bottle, the more it will become just like one cylinder as the cork expands to the area. So this is Pierre Cellier. This is their Prestige Brut Rosé. I wore my most sparkling outfit to talk about sparkling wines with you today. And I do want to talk about different glassware before we taste and see what this wine is like. So this is actually a sparkling wine glass. It's made by Riedel. It's made in that Sam Adams glass style. So the idea is that these little divots are going to help accentuate the bubble structure and keep the bubbles flowing. And this is like the perfect style, basically almost like that. It's just stemless. So it's a fun little thing, especially when there's lots of people around, and stems can be more tipsy and a little bit more unstable than stemless. So this is a fun glass I like to use. It is true that your hands will warm up the glass, but that's why it's double layer of glass down here so that your hands aren't warming up the liquid too much. So I stay away from traditional flutes always when I'm drinking sparkling wine, unless it's like super cheap sparkling wine. I'm putting like juice in it for mimosas because I want to smell the wine. So this is a much larger mouth opening of this glass. It does have that classic tulip style flute look, but with a much larger opening so that you can still smell the wine. Basically, you just want a centralized point in the bottom for those bubbles to kind of start forming. So you can use any glass, and as long as there is a point in the bottom, or you can just like chisel out a scratch, and those bubbles are going to form on whatever scratch is in the bottom of the glass. So if you don't have a style of a sparkling wine glass like this, I use a traditional white wine glass. But I would rather use a traditional white wine glass than a flute if I'm drinking the nice stuff, which we are in this occasion. So, but this is my preferred glass. All of these are by Riedel. They're not a sponsor. I don't make money on selling them yet. Riedel, if you're listening, you can pay to have your stuff sponsored in my videos. So let us try and see. You want to do a really slow pour with sparkling wine because, again, the bubbles are going to kind of foam up, and you don't want to have any spillage because champagne that isn't consumed is a waste, and we don't want to do that. So the best way to keep the bubbles fresh in your glass is to just drink the glass faster. So that is what I suggest. So cheers to whatever you might be drinking. Ooh, on the nose, this is like a strawberry almond croissant. It's got that like kind of butter toasting on the top of the croissant, that yeastiness that comes from the actual pastry. The almonds give this like slight nuttiness and savory component, and this like strawberry jam. There is a little bit of like golden figs in there too. Super, super delightful. And actually that golden fig butter note I find in all three of these wines. So it's really fascinating to see it in the rosé as well. But but definitely that strawberry, pomegranate, white cherry is coming out more in this one because of the rosé. So let's taste and see. Oh my gosh, the nose is just so wonderful. So I have a tradition in my family that I drink sparkling wine with my family Christmas morning, absolutely. But my mom and I share the good stuff, and everyone else will drink the other stuff and add the juices to it. Make the mimosas with your cavas, your cremants and stuff like that. But when you're just really wanting to savor the wine, please don't add juice to this. Just drink the champagne as it is. So I like to serve 2 sparkling wines. One really good champagne that I've splurged on for the holiday, and then one to add juice and serve to everybody. So let's taste. Oh my God, this wine. It's so creamy. It's got like this vanilla extract to the wine as well. It's so creamy. The bubbles are very fine and soft. It's refreshing, absolutely, but in this like creamy, sultry way that is just really, really, really delightful and lovely. Let's try. When I'm tasting sparkling wine, especially really good champagne, you do want the wine to kind of warm up a little bit in your mouth so that you can experience all of the wine. And unfortunately, you can't swish and swirl like you normally do with other wines because it will come out your nose. So we don't want to do that. But I like to do a slow rolling of the wine across my palate, across my tongue, to really fully experience the wine. Because when you're drinking champagnes like this, you want to fully experience the whole aspect of the wine. The texture, the flavor, the finish, the aromatics, everything about it. So this wine is so delightful, so lovely. There's like this orange blossom note in it, this like almost tangerine or clementine, along with all of those pink and red fruits, with this like nutty, buttery, brioche kind of texture to the wine. So absolutely gorgeous. Highly recommend, obviously, since these are the 3 sparkling wines that I am recommending for this holiday season. You can buy the 3-pack for just the $200 in the Hampton Roads area for free delivery. And I hope that these bring some sparkle to your holiday season this year. So until I see you again, cheers and happy end to 2020. Have a good day. Cheers.